What time is it there in Iceland?
It is 6 o'clock now here in Iceland, so late.
It's 6 p.m.
6 p.m. Yep.
I love
Yeah.
it. You're like, I have a big training day. It's so late. Like, what time do you go to bed?
I've been trying to go to bed now at like 9:30, but before I was actually going to bed around 10:30 or 11 because here in Iceland there's like no daylight, or sorry, there is daylight all day. There's no darkness. So when I go to bed, it's still like light out. So it's like really hard to like turn off your body and your system and go to sleep at a normal time because when you look outside it looks like it's like in the middle of the day.
It's so creepy. I've
Yeah.
been to Alaska and been in that. I've never been to Iceland, but I don't know how you do it. If you can see how bright my house is, we have sunlights everywhere, and I wake up as soon as I see light. So
Yeah.
I'm always telling my wife, I'm like, we need to black out everything because I need to sleep in. But
Yeah.
she's a morning person, so she's like, this is great. Like,
I'm lucky that I have blackout curtains all in my apartment. So, but if I don't close the blinds and then I wake up to like go to the bathroom and then I'm like completely thrown off because I walk outside of my bedroom, which is pitch black, and then it's like fully light out. And I'm like, what time is it? It's like 3 a.m. in the morning.
freaky.
Yeah.
I work in Las Vegas a lot, and my shows, I'll get off stage at like midnight, and I'll get back to my room, and I'll go to bed, and I'm like maybe by 2, and I'm like, I want to sleep in tomorrow. And
Hmm.
I will work with the curtains. Like, I will tape things, I will clamp them. I'm going to start traveling with clamps that they use on movie sets, because if the littlest sliver of light can get through the curtains, that like beam of light will wake me up. It's really creepy.
Wow. I'm not that crazy, but I can do with maybe a little sliver of light.
No one's as crazy as me. But I don't know if you've had this. I you're in one place. When I travel and I'm in a different hotel every week, I wake up sometimes in the middle of the night and don't know where I am when it's really dark. Like, I make the
Oh,
room really
that's
dark.
happened to me before. I feel like that's happened to everyone. You just like wake up and you're like, where am I? And you're like, oh, yeah, I'm here. Like you completely forget for a moment where you are.
Where you like sit and try to figure it out. You're like, okay, yesterday I got on a plane. I went to, is it St. Louis? Am I in St. Louis? And sometimes I'll like run to the door and open the door to kind of figure out, okay, okay, I'm in this hotel. Uh, I've read Matthew Walker's book, Why We Sleep,
Mm-hmm.
a- and he says in it that when you sleep in a hotel room, when you're not in your regular bed, that only half your brain sleeps. Like, it's like a dog
Oh, that's crazy.
or
I
like
didn't
a
know that.
dolphin. Yeah, it's not healthy at all to do what I do, to be like in a different place every week. I think what you're doing, like where you're there for a while, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're in a different place every single week, I I basically
Well,
haven't
I have
slept.
a games training camp coming up in Michigan before the game. So we leave July 13th. So we're going to be sleeping in a different place for 2 weeks. So hopefully my brain isn't half asleep at night and it's fully sleeping.
I shouldn't have told you that. Now it's in your head. You're gonna be like,
Yeah.
"Oh God, I'm only half sleeping."
Yeah.
I think it was something though. Yeah, I think he says like half your brain sleeps, and because I think it's, is it dolphins that only half their brain sleeps? They like lay on the, because they've got to be like aware of what's going on when they're in the ocean, and so they can't sleep because predators could get them. So half their brain sleeps and half is like totally active,
I
and then
had
they
no
switch.
idea.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's
Did you
crazy.
know? Did you know that giraffes, when they're born, get up and walk?
Like right away when they're born,
Yeah,
like immediately
yeah,
they start walking.
yeah.
I didn't know that either. Wow, I'm learning so much on this podcast.
Okay, I just learned it maybe 6 months ago, and I've been doing jokes about it on stage because I'm like, why do we talk about like humans being the greatest, the smartest species, when giraffes don't have to take care of their kids? They're like, hey, good luck, see ya. That was great.
See
You
you
just got up and
later.
walked. Yeah,
Wow,
where we
I'm learning a bunch of new things.
I mean, a human doesn't walk for a year.
That's like insane.
I know, and we never talk about giraffes. No one ever talks about them. I think
I
it's the
know.
only I think it's the only, like, mammal that does that too, that, like, gets up and walks away.
Well, maybe because giraffes are so big, like when they give birth, like the baby giraffe is pretty much like all the bones and everything are like fully, not fully grown,
Exact
but that's maybe why they're able to walk.
It's pretty awesome.
That's my theory.
I would think they would be the last to walk because of how lanky they are, that they would be like, "Oh, wow, how does this work?" And, just, like, how you see people, like, when you're younger, tall people were a little awkward in the beginning, but then, they develop later and usually are like, basketball players are really good. But in the beginning, it's like, oh, look, here he comes. You're gonna put him on your team?
Uh, that
I
is
don't know.
funny.
You were a basketball player, right?
Yes, I played basketball pretty much from third grade. So that was like 2003. So I was maybe about 9 years old until my senior year of high school. And that was kind of when I started getting into CrossFit. But yeah, basketball, I love it. I miss it. It's so much fun just going to like shoot hoops and every now and then and feel like that shot again and everything. So yeah, I miss basketball.
Did CrossFit throw off your shot at all?
It made my right arm really bulky and too muscular for shooting. No, I actually feel like I'm stronger. Like I feel like when I go to the basketball court and I can actually shoot a lot further past the 3 point line because my arm is stronger. So like I feel like before I wouldn't be able to like shoot as far away as I do because of CrossFit, if that makes sense. So I can shoot
Yeah,
farther past the 3 point line.
I would also think that you could take a quicker shot. Like you wouldn't really need to get your body into the shot. You just use, like your arms or that just everything would become a lot easier.
Well,
Uh,
that's
and
yeah, that I mean, that's basically why I got into CrossFit was because of basketball. I wanted that extra strength and conditioning program. So I wanted to get faster. I wanted to get stronger. I wanted to be able to jump higher and be more explosive. And I feel like CrossFit trains that like doesn't train multi-direction as much as it should, but the explosiveness from the Olympic weightlifting, it makes you like really quick on your toes to get that shot off.
yeah, and it's funny. Like I don't know. I'm trying to think how long ago you were playing basketball. What was it, like 10 years ago?
Yeah, about 10 years ago, which is
Yeah.
crazy.
I don't think, and you could tell me because I'm a lot older than you. You could tell me if uh, when I played like high school sports, the conditioning, the strength and conditioning was so basic, and now I feel like it's so complex that they are sport specific and they kind of get it and understand it because of the internet. I was looking at my nephew's football program and I'm like, oh my god, this is excellent. This is incredible, and he's in summer football, and I'm like, we didn't do anything like this. Like this is they understand plyometrics and all this explosiveness and they're doing Olympic weightlifting and so much complexity to it. And he's a lineman, and they're all doing different work than the running backs. And I just always felt like, wow, I wish I had CrossFit when I was playing sports because I
Yeah,
wish I could
it
have
helped.
used it.
It helped me so much, like having that CrossFit background with basketball. I mean, though, like when we were doing basketball conditioning, we were running like Sweet 16s, and it was a whole lot of like running. And I feel like I'm way more in shape now. Like looking back at when I was in high school, I just remember like not wanting to do those Sweet 16s, and then if
Wait,
someone was
what? Sorry to interrupt you. What's a Sweet 16?
it's basically where you run one, like, so we would go sideways on the basketball court. So you would run like one, I can't remember if it was one like up and back. So basically like a shuttle run, or if it was 1, 2, 3, and you go for 16. And there would be a specific time that our coach
Oh,
would have that we would have to beat. And if we didn't beat that, we'd have to run it again. So then we would keep going until the whole team made the whole 16. So you're just like, girls are like throwing up. Some girls might be cheating. Some girls actually might be cheating and not even touching the line when the coach isn't looking. Like it gets like that brutal. And so, or running ladders where you have to run like to the free throw line, back to half court, back, like also a specific time for that. Like I just remember running so much in basketball, like short sprints, and those were the worst.
That's hilarious that you say that, because I always tell people I ran track in college, and I always tell people about a workout that I did once that was the worst workout of my life. That the coach just gave us the baton and took all the girls and the guys. It's a big team, University of Pittsburgh. And he was
Mhm.
like, all right, everybody has to run a 200 meters. And he's like, the guys, the time is like 26, 26.4 or 26.5. And the women, it was like 26.5, like 2 seconds
Oh
slower or something.
wow.
And he's like, everybody has to run that time, give or take 1/10 of a second. So I could go like 24.4, 24.5, or 24.6. That was
Yeah.
my window that I had to touch the line in. Now, as soon as you hit that time, you could go home. So
Okay.
it started out with like 30 of us on the baton. So you had 29 people to rest. But like 8 people hit it the first time. So now we're down to like 22 people. And like each round, people are hitting the time and getting to go home. And so your rest time is getting shorter and shorter and
So
shorter.
bad for the last person.
Hello, here I am. I was the last guy. And the coach would like yell too. Like as you're coming to the line, he'd be like, 23, 24. So you could like speed up or slow down.
Yeah.
And I remember just going, I quit. Like I walked out and I was like, that's it. I'm never going back. I'm out of this sport. That was the worst thing that ever happened to me. I ended up like throwing up and going to I like had class later that night, and I was at class, and the teacher's like, are you okay? And I'm like, no, I'm not. but
Good
but
old
I've
good
always
school sports and their conditioning. Yeah, I'm sure that now it's better these days.
I've always wanted to put a CrossFit class on that workout. And just been like, all right, guys, here's today. And just because CrossFitters are glutton or not gluttonous, they're sadist or masochistic. And it's like, hey, you want to put yourself in the worst situation you've ever been in?
I think it would be great for high schools to start like implementing CrossFit into their PE classes, because I think it's like such a great strength and conditioning program for anyone to be able to do and to move your body in different ways rather than just like running the mile for time. Then you have to do like 100 push-ups or like sit-ups. Like it's such basic tests. I just feel like we've outgrown that.
But don't you think it's too complex for a basic gym teacher to teach that? I mean, I feel like that takes some really good coaching.
I don't think it has to be too complex. I mean, you don't have to have them in the weight room teaching them how to like weight lift, but I mean, basic things like doing air squats, shuttle runs, like doing an actual like 10-minute AMRAP of some body weight exercises. Like, I feel like that could be a great test of fitness, like maybe starting at the beginning of the year doing like 10-minute AMRAP of lunges, air squats, run, like body weight stuff, and then retest later in the PE, like later in the semester, and see if they've actually improved their fitness. I feel like that's like
I
very easy for a PE teacher to do.
I agree with you. I just think that we've got a bit of a problem. Is that my phone or your phone? Do you hear the dinging?
Sorry, that's my phone. People keep texting me.
I thought it was
Or
mine.
it's my team texting. I don't know. I just put airplane mode on. Hopefully that stops.
I have a phantom ring going on my phone. Have you ever had that?
Oh, it
My
keeps going.
my phone just rings now all the time, and there's no one call. Oh my god, what is this?
This keeps going. I wonder if I could shut this off. I don't really know how to shut off iMessages on my computer. I'm sorry. Of
I think
course,
if you,
the
I
one
think
time
if
I'm
you,
doing a podcast and then my team is like going berserk in the group message.
um, what's going on with the team? What am I missing? I want to know what they're all talking about.
They're talking about someone took a magnet from the gym.
A
I don't
magnet.
I don't know what magnet.
That's the problem. There's a
I'm
magnet missing.
There's a magnet missing. I just turned off my messages, so maybe that helps.
Is that your secret to your team, the magnets?
I don't even know what magnet they're talking about right now, so I didn't read the message fully.
How is it living in Iceland?
It's been a lot of fun living in Iceland. Like it's been a total like just climate change and everything for me. But I've been enjoying it a lot, like living here in Europe and experiencing like the Icelandic culture, getting to meet like new people and just training with the crew here has been a whole lot of fun. And yeah, I mean, we leave in 2 weeks, which I can't believe like the 6 months has like flown by since I got here in January.
Is this your first time on a super team, or were you always Invictus? Is this the first time with this team or second?
So in 2019 or 2018, I competed individually. And then 2019 was when they started making kind of the changes within like CrossFit games and they got rid of the regionals. And then they had not semifinals, but it was sanctionals. And so you had to go qualify out of a sanctional. There was a lot of unknowns back in 2019, and that was the year when they said you could do super teams. So I created a super team with Invictus, with Tommy Venus, with my fiance Rasmus, and then with Reagan Huckabee. And we ended up placing third place that year. And then 2020, COVID happened, so that kind of canceled my season. And then 2021, competed in West Coast Classic, did not qualify. And then 2022, Annie asked me to do a team via Instagram in November. And so I was like, why not move to Iceland and train with Annie?
That's pretty cool. But everyone listening is dying to know what's happening with the magnet.
I know there's something that keeps going with the messages. It just keeps going. I'm sorry about
It's
that.
okay. It's okay. It makes it
Now they're
makes the show
talking
interesting.
about food and something else.
I can't imagine what a CrossFit team talks about other than like, what'd you eat? I ate lots of protein. What'd you eat? Lots of protein.
No,
What do
actually,
you,
our team talks about what does our team talk about in messages? It's either what time we're meeting at the track, or if we're running late to training, or maybe talking about like the work, like sharing some like workouts. Like we've been filming our workouts and just watching them and how we can get better. And then it's like basically kind of some notes about our training.
wow, it's full on. It's never it's very different than my comedian friends voicemails. We always talk about who got canceled. It's always like, did you hear so and so just got convicted, or is was accused of, or got punched on stage, or that's all ours.
You're a
It's all go.
comedian.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't
Oh,
know that.
you didn't know that? Yeah,
No.
I've been doing comedy for 27 years.
Wow.
Stand-up comedy, been touring the world. So I've been everywhere except for Iceland. I've been all over. I talked to
That's
Rasmus about it. I've actually been to Rasmus's gym in in
in Denmark.
Copenhagen. Yeah.
Oh wow,
And
that's
I think you did our show maybe like 10 years ago or something at a CrossFit Games.
oh
It was like
really?
a long time ago. Yeah. Yeah, I used to do it with two other
Okay.
guys. And I think you jumped up. We were back whatever at the CrossFit Games. And I think you were there for a little bit
Maybe it
before
was
it just
Wadapalooza.
no. Oh, they were at Wodapalooza. I wasn't with them. So maybe that was it. Uh, but yeah, I was in doing shows in Denmark, and I tell the story all the time about the craziest CrossFit gym I ever went to. And I was telling Rasmus about it. He's like, "That's my gym. That's where I started." And I was
Why was it
like,
the craziest CrossFit gym?
because I went into some Globo gym, and they were like, I was like, "You guys do CrossFit here?" And they're like, I can't do the accent, but they were like, "Go there." Like they just like pointed, and I'm like, and I go down the steps and through this field of like I had to cross train tracks, and there's this like broken down building. I have a picture of it. I sent it to Rasmus.
That's great.
And there's this like building with like loading docks and graffiti all over it. And I'm like, this can't be the gym. And I walk in the door, and sure enough, inside is a CrossFit gym, and they're playing the Rocky soundtrack. and there's just 4 giant men in there with their shirts off, just working out and not talking to each other.
That's
And
hilarious.
and I walk in and I'm like, I look at like the WOD on the board and it's like impossible. So I like scale it down and then I just start working out and then I leave. And I'm like, no one talked to me.
So
No
did you
one,
even sign a drop, or did you even sign a waiver or pay a drop-in fee?
no,
You just like showed up and
no,
worked out.
no. I just walked in and everyone like grunted at me and just kept doing what they were doing. And I was like, okay, I'll just, like,
I wanna see what CrossFit gym this was. So I'll ask Rasmus after.
yeah. You know what? I'll look because I might have a text with him or an email. I remember I sent him. It's called, I think it's CrossFit Odense. Does that sound right?
Oh, CrossFit Onsa.
Onsa. Onsa.
Yeah.
Have you been there?
I think so, but I don't know which one you're talking about.
'Cause he told me it's gone now. But when
Okay,
I
then
start
maybe not.
when I started describing it, he was like, I go, the weirdest gym I've ever been at. I start telling the story and he's like, that's my gym.
That's funny.
But did you start in SoCal or did you start in NorCal?
I started CrossFit in Northern California. So I moved to San Diego because of school. So I went to San Diego State University, but I started training at CrossFit 209, Stockton, California, with Vince Carter and Gabe Subry. Gabe was, I think, a 3-time Games athlete back in the day, like
Yeah, I remember.
2010
Yeah.
through 2012. Started training there and just got hooked on CrossFit. Didn't really know what the CrossFit Games was. And then my junior year of high school, Gabe was like, hey, Lauren, like, I think you can compete in the CrossFit Games one day. And I was like, what is the CrossFit Games? And then he started explaining it to me. And then I ended up competing in my first regionals in 2012, the following year. And then from there, it kind of took off. And then I moved to San Diego in 2013, went to San Diego State University and started training at Invictus. And then yeah, I've been to the games 8 times, or is it going? Yeah, 8 times. So I've been 4 individual and 4 team.
Your best is what, a ninth?
Ninth place in 2014.
The ninth fittest woman in the entire world. And I'm going to talk about the elephant in the room. You are not near the size of any of the other girls, especially at that point. What
Yeah,
was your secret?
I was one of the smallest girls, I think, that year in 2014, probably around like 130 pounds. I sometimes look back.
Unbelievable.
I'm like, how did I lift that much when I was so tiny? And I also like didn't wear knee sleeves. And I think it's honestly just those teenage hormones. Like
I was just going to say,
you just have these like hormones raging through your body and you're just like PRing all the time. And then you don't feel any aches or pains or like
yeah.
any soreness. Your body is just like a robot almost. And then when you hit your 20s, it starts to go downhill a little bit. You start to notice like, oh, I need to warm up longer. This is what everyone talks about when they say your knees hurt or your hips hurt. Um, I'm a whole lot more experienced and I whole lot more fitter and stronger and a more well-rounded athlete than I was back in 2014 when I took ninth place. I think now also like the CrossFit Games field of women has, I mean, it's crazy to see how it just keeps elevating year after year. And I mean, we're seeing like these 17-year-olds up and coming in the CrossFit Games. And it's just crazy to see like how these young women are, I mean, becoming some of the best in the sport at such a young age. It almost reminds me a little bit of gymnastics. So I'm just wondering to see like how long, like obviously up and coming from such a young age, like how long can you stay in it for that like a long extended period of time?
Well, we predicted that like 12 years ago. We've been doing the show forever, and we said eventually you're going to get like super athletes into the sport. Like it wasn't very athletic people. It was more like gym rats in the beginning, and athletes were going to sports where there's money. You know, people want to play football, baseball, basketball. That's where the money is. And so you get the people that just love to work out that are doing CrossFit. But eventually, as CrossFit gets money, athletes are going to go, hey, you get popularity, you get, big followings, you make lots of money. And so guys are going to go, I'd rather go work out than get hit in the head and play football. So you're going to get like these extremely great athletes. And you're also going to get, like you said, once they start teaching it in gym class and at schools, the younger and younger, because I'm seeing it all the time now with the younger kids are getting, and that girl right now that, what's her name? She's like 17 or
Mal
something.
O'Brien.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just the youth. It's like my daughter is 7 years old. And the other day we went on a 7 mile hike up like 2,000 vertical feet in 3 miles. And the next day I was like, my hips were sore. My feet were a little sore. And I go, how you feeling? She's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, are you sore at all? And she's like, what? Like it was just like unfathomable to her that you could
That's
be
funny.
sore. And I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot what that's like. Um,
That's funny.
and you're like, oh, I see when you're 20s. Wait till your 30s and then your 40s. 40s are when it really hits. 40s are when you wake up and you have an injury from sleeping. You'll be like, I just tore my rotator sleeping. I don't know how
You
but
wake up and you can't even get out of bed because your body hurts.
so bad. Especially if you do CrossFit. I'm blown away. I just looked at the last chance qualifier workouts, and I was looking at my age group, which is 50 to 55, and I'm like, I can't even do one of these workouts. Like, how are these guys doing this for like great times? I can't even complete one of these workouts now. They've just gotten so amazing. And I don't understand. I understand you guys and how good you are. And I get it. And your training and your recovery and everything you do and how you do it. I get it. I don't understand those guys, how they stay injury free.
I mean, I feel like every single age division. I mean, I know from the 40 plus, my good friend Jen Ryan, she's going to the CrossFit Games in the 40 to 44-year-old division. She trains as much as like I train, and she just takes really good care of her body, like focuses on nutrition. Like she's a nutritionist, so she focuses on her nutrition and just like sleep and recovery. Like I mean, it's a full time job. Like even the people who are competing in masters, and also my good friend Heather Hippenstill, her dad Dave Hippenstill's multi-year games champion, like in the 60 plus age division. And I think they prioritize taking care of their body. I mean, they stretch, they work out, they eat healthy. I don't think they don't drink much alcohol. Like like if you want to be competing at that age, it's just like cutting out some things and making sacrifices. I mean, they're working just as hard as like the people who are competing to be the fittest on earth in the individual division.
Dave is a freak. I've had Dave on the show, and I know Heather from CrossFit Malibu because that's where I work out sometimes.
Oh,
Uh,
really?
yeah,
Small world.
I haven't seen her in a while. Where is she now these
She moved
days?
to Nashville.
Oh, okay.
She's actually
Oh,
here in Iceland right now visiting me, so that's funny.
oh, that's funny. Tell her I said hello. I
I
did.
will.
She did Murph with us one year. With We had this whole crazy crew of people do it. Like Mike Anderson invited. There were like pro football players there and military guys, and Hunter McIntyre did it with us. And actually, Hunter didn't do it that year. Hunter only did the runs with us, which screwed everybody up because they thought he was doing Murph, and he like sprinted this mile, and everybody's like, is that the pace we got to keep? And Hunter runs like a 4:15 mile.
Insane.
And so everybody's like, there were guys like that wanted to compete with him. And then Hunter jumps on the rower afterwards. And they're like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I just came to kind of run with you guys.
That's
So
funny.
yeah. Yeah, her dad is one of my idols. Dave Hippenstill, I think, is just watching that guy do muscle ups all day long.
I know. I'm like, how can he still do ring muscle ups? Like, it blows my mind, and they look so good. Like, yeah, he's awesome.
He is an awesome guy. So what are you eating in Iceland? Because the food's when I've been over to Scandinavia, and I can't compare the two because I know they're different, but I would imagine it's somewhat similar. And
Food in Iceland. I mean, honestly, it's very similar to the States. I think one thing, there's not as much like good snack foods. I think in the US, we have a lot of great snack foods. Like, when you go to like Whole Foods or Trader Joe's and they have the snack section, I feel like that, like the healthy snack section doesn't really exist here in Iceland. Like, they
probably a
have
good thing.
chain they have some chain, like they have like Cheerios or some like normal brand cereals, but when you go into like Whole Foods and they have these like weird healthy like brands made with like cassava flour, or I don't know, made with like rice flour, and it's all these like crazy foods. You don't really have that here in Iceland. So I feel like I've actually really been enjoying going to the fish market here in Iceland because they catch fresh fish every day. So if you go there, it's not just fish that they caught for the week. It's like fish that they caught for that day, and they have some like pre-marinated fish. So like I really just only need to throw it in the oven and it tastes so good. So I'm gonna miss like that. And they have like a really good meat market too, where you can get like fresh cut meat. Also, I love the bakeries here in Iceland because they have like you can go and get like fresh bread daily, like fresh sourdough bread. I don't think you can really do that in the States. It's like
No,
I
it's
feel
hard.
like the bread you buy in the US, you have to toast it because it just like doesn't taste good when it's not toasted because it's just so dry. But here in Iceland, you can buy bread at the bakery and it tastes so fresh that same day.
That sounds awesome. Yeah, I haven't eaten bread in like a month and a half because this project we are doing, and I'm like, oh my god, I want sourdough bread so bad right now. Uh, Tell me this: what kind of fish? Because every country you go to always has different fish that they push on you or that they
They,
specialize in.
I mean, they have like fresh. I'm like my go-to salmon. They also have whitefish. I mean, you can eat whale here in Iceland.
Mhm.
I've had whale one time. That was like really like red meat, different
Really?
tasting. But I mean, they have pretty much everything that you would kind of figure like normal fish. But I think for me, I usually buy the salmon.
And it's Sweden that has the horse that they eat mostly.
No, they have horse here too. I mean, I don't really know where you're gonna buy that, but in restaurants, like I saw like horse on the menu, and they have like puffin, like the bird. It's like an Icelandic bird here, and they eat it. It's a puffin, like with the orange beak,
Yeah,
and so
yeah, I know
they eat
puffin.
some crazy things.
Yeah, but so do we. It's whatever you think is normal. You
I
know,
mean,
pe-
we have in Florida, you can eat alligator, which I think
yeah.
is like so weird. Like, why would anyone want to eat alligator? But I mean, I've tried it, but I'm like, it's not like something I'm like, oh, I want to eat alligator meat. So yeah, there's weird things all over.
Do they have Rasmus and I talked about this forever? Do they have hot dogs everywhere there, like they do
They have
in
hot dog
Sweden?
stands. Yeah, that's like the thing here. I actually haven't even gotten one hot dog, which is really sad. But Con Porter, my teammate, he loves the hot dogs. So like he'll go after the swimming pool and there's like a hot dog stand. You know how you find in like California taco trucks everywhere?
Yeah,
Their thing is hot dog stands.
that's New York City too. New York City has like we used to call them dirty water dogs because they like boil the hot dogs in water in the cart, and then
That's
you
gross.
I it's so gross. And we used
I
to
don't
joke about
Yeah, I just don't think the hot dogs in New York are going to be as good as Iceland.
well, Iceland, we talked about this about how they like cut a hole in the bun and they stick the hot dog all the way down in the bun and they'll put like you pour the ketchup or mayonnaise inside. They do mayonnaise too. Ugh, it was so gross. The whole time I was in Norway and Denmark and Sweden, we were touring around and I was with a couple other comedians that went with me and they kept eating hot dogs like all day long and it was making me ill. I just was like, all right, enough with the hot dogs.
I can't
But
do that.
no, but a lot of meatballs too. We would do meatballs and fingerling potatoes.
That
That's
just
like,
sounds like a very fatty diet. That does not sound like my cup of tea.
well, I'm touring. I'm going to venues, and a lot of times they cook for you at the venue. So I had no say. I'm not like, hey, I like to stay healthy. Do you have a grass-fed steak for. No, it was like you all sit around a table and they serve you. It's like eating a family dinner. And
Yeah.
so I would be meatballs and fingerling potatoes. And it was like every night. I was like,
Uh,
do you guys change at all? But so I don't know. I haven't been. Iceland's supposed to be gorgeous, though, isn't it? Like one of the most beautiful places in the world.
It's so beautiful here. It's actually really cool because I've been able to experience it like in the winter and also in the summer, and it looks so different from the winter to the summer. Like you look at like the big mountain and it looks like the white wall from Game of Thrones here in Iceland. It really feels like that. And then in the summertime it like looks completely different and it's so green, the flowers, like it's very pretty. There's just a lot of great scenery here and very untouched. Like when you're driving down the roads, it's like so beautiful.
How do you guys think you're going to do as a team? I mean, do you think like I let me before you answer? When I talk to CrossFitters, I always find like competitive CrossFitters, they kind of know when in individuals, they know by like where they are and incrementally how much better they get, how they're going to finish. It's never like this guy that's like 38th. It's like, I'm going to win it this year. It's always like, well, I'm better at this and I'm better at this. So I feel like I should be here. But I feel like with games, there's a lot of chaos involved.
I mean, I feel like it's really hard as either an individual athlete or team to kind of say where you're going to be at. I mean, our team, I feel like, will be one of the best at the CrossFit Games, but we're not going there to be one of the best. We want to win. And so I think we're going to do really well if we keep doing what we've been doing. It's been great that we've had a lot of practice together as a team. So, working on things we're not very good at, like the worm or just working on like synchronized movements because obviously like teams like Mayhem, they've had this experience for years. So for them, they know exactly how to pace like a certain worm workout. And for us, like it's all very new to us. So like we're still kind of like learning. But I mean, we've been putting in a ton of work here in Iceland and I'm excited to actually like put it to test the games. It's going to be really fun.
Do you pay attention to the other teams at all? Be honest.
I mean, during semifinals, I was watching some of the teams compete just because I want to see how they do certain workouts, and obviously, we were going to test some of those workouts at semifinals. But during games, I mean, you're focused on like your own team. I mean, if one team does better than you, obviously that's gonna hurt a little bit, but you want to focus on yourself. And same thing as an individual, like you can only do the best you can do. So as a team, we're like, okay, how can we be better for the next workout?
I don't know how you do it. I think team is the hardest thing in the world because not only could you let yourself down, you could let other people down. So like, when you go to a CrossFit gym and like Saturday morning is like partner workouts, I'm always like, God damn it. Oh, I can't like take a break or, cause you've got this other person that's looking at you like, hey, this is me too. And you can't let me down. And so I feel like it pushes you twice as hard.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's funny when people say like individuals way easier because I mean, as a team we're training as much as if I was going to as an individual to the CrossFit Games, I'm training as much as I would as an individual like doing the team. Like we are training very hard and yeah, team workouts are not easy. Like when I'm doing a synchronized workout with Annie, that's like usually it's like the worst because it's like, hey, we gotta go. And like I'm just kind of moving at Annie's pace. And I'm like, all right, we're gonna just hold on and see how it goes. And I don't even have the voice in me to tell Annie to slow down. And then I end up doing it. But I think like I feel like this year I'm becoming like the fittest I've ever been, like being on a team with Annie, because I'm just like learning how much I can actually like push myself in workouts thanks to Annie. Like whenever it's anything we have to do together, I always just go to somewhere like in a darker place because I'm like, I don't want to let Annie down or I don't want to let my team down. And I mean, yeah, we've had some tough training days.
Oh wait, doesn't Annie have how old's her baby?
She's gonna be turning 2, I think, in
Oh,
August.
okay, two. I was thinking it was younger, and I'm like, how does she do this?
I mean, she took third place at the CrossFit Games a year after giving birth, which is insane. Like, it just shows how amazing she is as an athlete and just like how dedicated she is. And yeah, she's so awesome.
She really is. She's pretty incredible. And I understand she's pretty famous in Iceland.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like all of the CrossFit daughters are famous in Iceland.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a small country. Everyone knows everyone. So there's like no getting, like everyone knows. It's just a very small country. And so, yeah.
When you were at San Diego State like 10 years ago, did you ever imagine that you'd be living in Iceland?
No, I mean, when I moved to San Diego State, I never imagined I would go to the CrossFit games or like be sponsored by Nike or travel the world. Like there's so many things like I never would have imagined. And it's crazy like how much CrossFit has brought to my life and how like thankful I am because I have been able to do things. I lived in Dubai for a little bit and now I lived in Iceland. And I mean, I met Rasmus, my fiance, through CrossFit. So I feel like it has brought so much into my life. And I mean, I've also been able to build my brand Grown Strong through my career of CrossFit, helping other women in fitness and finding strength as well. Because back when I was in high school, I mean, I was made fun of for being too muscular and for being too bulky and for doing CrossFit. So it's easy to have looked back and have taken like the easy route and just been like, well, I don't want to get made fun of, so I'll just like do what everyone else does. But instead, I decided to take my own path and it kind of paid off. And I think it just shows that like if you want to do something and other people don't believe in it, but you believe in it, like just keep going after it.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. And yeah, from my own example of that too, I was criticized when I started doing stand up comedy. Everybody's like, "What are you? Why?" Like I grew up in a place where everybody went into banking and sale, and they all wore suits to work every day, and I was the contrarian, and everybody's like, "What are you doing?" And it was hard at first. It was a struggle, but I look back on my life and I'm like, I'm glad I never listened to anybody. I mean,
Yeah.
no one was really supportive of me. Not my one sister, but my whole family was like, "What are you doing? Don't do this." And I've had a great life, and I've spent some time in Dubai there too. Whoa, did you ever go to Wild Wadi when you were in Dubai?
Is that the water park?
Yes.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Is that the best water park in the
It's
world?
I mean, Dubai has a lot of great things. I mean, they have the fastest roller coaster in the world, which Ras and I have done. I mean, they have like that huge water fountain show, which is like so cool to look at every single day. Like, yeah, they have some really cool things there in
They
Dubai.
have the worst traffic I've ever been in.
Oh my gosh, yeah, you cannot drive in Dubai at all. It's like the worst ever. I was like scared to drive when I first got there.
Did you guys ever go in the Land Cruisers out in the desert
Oh
and
yeah,
go on the
we did all
safari?
of that.
Yeah, so much fun. I've
Yeah.
I've spent a lot of time in Dubai. They do a lot of comedy there, so they used to fly us over. Like I lived in England for a while, and they'd fly us over like once a month to come do these shows, and you'd be
Oh, that's
performing for like
cool.
yeah, it was really cool. Um, okay, so your brand, Grown Strong, uh, it has like a positive message to it. It's just you're not just out there uh, doing online coaching because there's a lot of people doing that. Yours is kind of different from everyone else's. Can you explain?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of people doing online fitness programming now. I mean, it's coming out everywhere, but I feel like what separates Grown Strong from every other brand, I think, is our community. Like for me, it's always been like the sole focus that I always want to prioritize the community and make sure all of the members feel welcome inside of there and to be able to share their vulnerable secrets and to be able to encourage people no matter if you're having a bad day or if you're having a good day. And so we offer 5 different fitness programs based off time and equipment. But I think what separates us is like that we're actually helping women become strong, not just like physically inside of the gym, but mentally and emotionally. And I feel like so many other programs don't really cover that. And also the fact that we are a fitness program for women that actually like helps them get strong. I mean, there's a lot of these fitness programs out there, but I think Grown Strong is just a whole lot different from those ones.
I know a lot of people that do fitness programs from CrossFitters to people outside of it. And I have friends that are former models that do it, and some of them are super successful. And it kind of irks me because they were always like physically beautiful. And it was, and they're like, "Hey, follow my program." And there are people out there that are like, "Oh, I want to look like her." And I'm not going to name names, but they're like, "I want to look like her." And I'm like, "Well, you better get new parents." And you bet, because she had genetics that are unbelievable. And yes, she does work out or do whatever, but yours and a lot of other girls, not to say you're not beautiful, but which you are, but there's a lot of girls that, especially in the CrossFit world, that worked so hard to get there, to
Hmm.
develop what they've done. And I feel like, go with that person, go
Hmm.
with that training program, the person that is going to take you from like their start, where they're like, "Look at me, look where I started, look where I am now through all this hard work, and I'm going to show you how to do it." Rather than these, they're more like Hollywood celebrity type people that are like, "Hey, look at me and look at my life and how wonderful it is. You could be like me, pay me, and I'll tell you what I do every day." And it's like, but there was no change.
Hmm.
There was no, and like you can see where you started and where you've gone. And it's like, well, okay, tell me how. Tell me how to do this. I want to know, and I want to do what you did. So
Yeah.
I respect it a lot more coming from someone like you.
Thank you. Yeah, we're not that like one, where you find those programs where it's like that one quick fix to get abs in like 30 days or to lose weight in 2 weeks. Like it actually requires hard work and consistency and dedication. And I think for me, I've always tried to stay relatable and authentic on my Instagram and never put out anything that is like filtered or covered up or making my life seem better than it is. And that's exactly like what Grown Strong is all about. Like, we want to help those women who are undergoing any obstacles in their life, whether, you're in the military and you're getting deployed, or if you're someone who's suffering from anxiety, or like you just need somewhere to fit in. That's like what Grown Strong is all about. And I think all of our members are super relatable people and they're all working hard towards those goals.
That's great. How do people get onto Grown Strong? Is it grownstrong.com?
Yeah, so you can find out more information at grownstrong.com. You can also follow at grownstrong, or you can find on my website, lauren-fisher.com, or follow me at Lauren Fisher, and I post a bunch about Grown Strong as well.
And then what is the where do you guys go from here? You go to camp in Michigan?
So July 13th, leaving for a camp in Michigan, and then we'll be there for like 2.5 weeks to get acclimated to the heat and time change, and then head over to Madison like July 31st, and then compete in the games first weekend of August.
What's the camp you're going to in Michigan? Can you say? Is it secretive or is it?
It's a secret camp. We can't tell anyone. We're not going to be posting anything about it,
Are you
and we're
serious?
be like training really hard. No, it's we're going. It's called the Pit, and we're going to Three Rivers, Michigan. So it's basically across the lake from Madison. So I think the heat and everything is going to be pretty similar to what we will be feeling at the games. So yeah, Three Rivers, Michigan, the Pit. So we'll see how it
Oh,
is.
awesome. Oh, well, good luck. Cheering for you guys. Hope you do really well. I'm sure you will. Uh, I I don't know if I'll be in Madison. Every once in a while I show up, but if I'm there, I'll be cheering for you. And good luck with Grown Strong. It seems like an amazing program, and I appreciate you doing the show in the middle of your. You got to get to bed at 7 p.m. Get up
No,
for
not 9:30. So 2.5 hours.
how many workouts do you guys do in a day?
Well, this morning I had a track workout and then I had two like Metcons in the afternoon. And then I had like an hour of like some zone two work.
Wow.
Today was a cardio day. So like I'm usually cardio days take it out of me.
And are you just, when you do a cardio day, are you taking in tons of carbs?
Oh yeah, tons of food. Like I had
Yeah.
a big like bowl after training and then I'm about to eat again.
Okay. You look like you get excited for that. You're like, I get to eat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, well, go have fun. Thanks for doing the show. I appreciate it. And everybody go follow her at, what is it again on
At
Instagram?
Lauren Fisher on Instagram, or you can find more information on my website, lauren-fisher.com.
One last thing. What's your brother doing these days?
Oh, Garrett's in Nashville now, and he's a real estate agent.
Wow. Is he still
So
CrossFitting?
if you're in Nashville and you're looking for a real estate agent, check out my brother at Garrett M. Fisher.
You know what's funny? I have friends moving there. I'll tell
Really?
them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is he doing CrossFit still?
He works out, but not like full on CrossFit. Like he
Yeah.
does his own thing.
Yeah. That
He's
seems to be a
retired.
lot. Seems to be a lot of guys once they get out there. Like I do sort of CrossFit.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, thanks, Lauren. I appreciate it. Have a
Thank
great day.
you so much.
Night. Have a great 24 hours of daylight.
Thank you.
See ya.